Welcome to Uncredible Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1. Whoop whoop! Our first ever live stream.
And we're live! Welcome everybody to the live edition of the podcast. I think it's pretty awesome. We should actually be legitimately live right now.
Why did you put it as Uncredible 21? This is Season 2, Episode 1.
Well, but that's just, we're just counting up. This is the season.
You named it the wrong thing.
Okay, I'll go back and change the name of every podcast if you want. But for now, I'm just... Okay. I will change the name of this right now. Season 2, Episode 1.
And I'm just posting this on Facebook.
There you go. Season 2, Episode 1. Wow. All right, Elizabeth, how do we know each other?
Okay, so this is kind of a fun story. We actually met in a sociology university class, and we kind of saw each other occasionally at like different parties and stuff, and I thought he was nice.
Don't lie. Then, if you didn't think I was nice, you don't say that.
I totally did. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, we hung out in sociology. We had some mutual friends, but we didn't talk in depth or like outside of those settings. And then I came back for my second year of university, and we started talking a lot more. Found out we had a lot in common, and he asked me out on a date. Yeah.
How old were you when you did that?
18.
She was different.
Okay,
I think I've done something similar recently.
So we go on this date. It was really nice, just like a dinner, and then we went to a YSA dance. And then I was telling my, wait, I'll get the order right. So he asked me out on a second date, and I politely declined, just because I saw him more as a friend. And then I was talking to my grandma about this date. He's like, wait, who's the boy you went on a date with again? I was like, oh, Brady Simpson. And she's like, Elizabeth, you are related to him.
What?
And so, she explained that we're like second cousins once removed. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so my mom and her grandma are first cousins. So it's not that weird, but it's pretty weird. It's weird enough.
It's gray area.
And so
it's gray area.
I texted Brady, and I was like, yo, so funny story, we're related. And he didn't believe me at first. He actually had to call me to confirm, and we laughed about it for like a half hour, and now it's a running joke. And then we've just kind of been besties ever since.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that happened. Yeah. See, I'm going to be 100% honest about this, okay?
Okay.
I actually wasn't that offended when you were like, I think we should just be friends. Because I knew that you were just being honest, that you weren't trying to just get rid of me or something. So I really wasn't that offended. I was more worried that you were now going to try to avoid me. So like I felt bad is what happened. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Nice.
Good. Yeah. Yep.
Nice. So I'd like to formally thank 3 people currently watching right now. Hope you're enjoying it.
They're allowed to comment.
You are. We encourage it, in fact. If you have any questions, queries, comments, or concerns, drop them in the comments, and we will respond. Look, I'll even kick off the comments. Wait, how do I even comment on this?
He doesn't know how to comment.
There's no comment section. You made it without a comment section.
No, it has a comment section. It says live chat.
It doesn't have one here.
I will comment. Hi, guys. See? I commented.
On Facebook? Wait, why did you put Canada Day in the title? I can't see your comment.
Okay, I don't know what's wrong with you. But okay. Somebody just asked where we're all recording from. So I'm in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada. He's in England. Just kidding. He's not. He's a BYU.
I'm in Rexburg, Idaho.
And I am in Lloydminster, Alberta.
Yeah, so we're kind of everywhere right now.
But you're both in Canada, so isn't that like the same place?
Basically.
Yeah, it's basically the same place.
Isn't it just like village tundra with mounties and moose, village hockey game, village maple syrup, village.
There you go, maple syrup.
I imagine Canada is just like there's just like 3 or 4 people that know each other really well. They travel a lot, and that's how people kind of know that.
That's pretty accurate, actually.
We have 4 people watching. That means that besides all of our tabs that are open that are watching, we actually have
one person.
I've got like 10. I don't know what you're talking. No, okay.
Wait, really?
No, I don't. What? My only question is, I don't know how you found the live stream.
Oh, now 3 are watching it, so they logged off. Right, that's all right.
Pay less attention to how many people are watching the podcast and pay more attention to the podcast. Maybe that'll help.
Right. You're right. So, what are we talking about, Brady? This is your show.
This is my show? Okay.
Isn't it?
I guess. I mean, if you want to take down podcasts, you have to ask me permission. So I guess, yeah, that pretty much makes it my show. I want to give a shout out, first of all. Our last episode got a lot of views, even though I unlisted it. So that clearly means that there's a lot of people spreading it around. And based on the analytics, it says that a lot of them are from Idaho. So I just want to give a shout out to Idaho for all of the people watching. So thanks for that, I guess.
Our most effective marketing. Oh, I can see the live chat now.
How you didn't see it before was...
It's not at the bottom of the slide. But yeah, anyway, so we'd like to thank all of our recent followers.
Yeah, we got a few subscribers, too, out of that.
Yeah.
I guess they just want to see when we screw up next.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. Well, there is. There is. That's something I've learned this week. Yeah. Swiftly moving on. Anyway.
Yeah. We had an interesting experience. It caused everybody a lot of stress, and I'm sure some of the people watching this right now know what we're talking about. So we just want to say that we do apologize if anyone was offended by things that were said.
It's true.
But there's really nothing we can do to make you feel less offended, so we don't apologize for that. So
I apologize for what I said. It probably wasn't the brightest thing to say. I'm not really sure what else I could do at this point to make it right. So, yeah, I mean, if anyone has any ideas of any specific things I could do, let me know in the comments. But until then, I'll just assume that I've done my bit and we'll give space where space has been requested.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Hey, Elizabeth, can you send me, like, I don't know, a link of the podcast or something so that I can put it on my Facebook?
I'm sorry. Okay.
I can send it to you. I've already got the link copied.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't have the link. But I don't think that I can link my own podcast. And like, I've never used YouTube like this. That's an important distinction. So,
yeah. No one's watching. That's all right. I don't know what they expected.
Well, we didn't advertise it at all. So
Elizabeth is our fan. For those interested, Elizabeth is...
I am the fan.
She's the fan. She's been watching the video. So Elizabeth, tell us, how long have you been watching this?
Since episode 1. And
really?
Yeah.
What?
She's watched over 20 hours of the podcast. This is why. Okay, so based on circumstances, Joseph wanted to get rid of all of the podcasts. He wanted to restart, and I was extremely against that. Elizabeth, please explain why that would be a bad idea.
Because in the future, it'll be prime viewership to go back and react to your first podcast episode. And you can really see the progression of like the first episode compared to now.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just be so sad. You guys have some pretty good moments over season 1. So I understand why, but just a sec. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Okay.
we have drama. We have drama.
There's drama.
There's drama. I'm on the edge of my seat. Hey, wait.
Oh, it's
we have
just
a-
good night hugs. It's okay.
That's right, guys. We're PG now. For now.
Oh, that was tender. There were tender moments shared. Okay, did anybody send me? You guys did send me. Oh, whoa. They're going to hear.
I sent you the link.
Thanks for sending me the link. Yeah, I don't need the link anymore, Elizabeth. I'm going to post it on my own Facebook. Live episode of the podcast. Season 2 begins.
Yeah. All right. This is fun.
It's a totally different dynamic trying to do this live. Because
I don't know why. We always do one take and we never edit, so it shouldn't be any different.
it shouldn't be. There's just so much more to this now, right? Like there's more technically involved with me, I suppose. Like I have to do a lot more organizing of shots and watching the live stream to make sure it's up, and there's just a lot more to it. It feels like I don't think a lot of people do live vodcasts anymore just because of that, because it's really distracting to try to get everything going all the time. But well, actually, I've seen a few, but
Yeah.
it's just a different dynamic.
It is. What does anyone know what time? I'm trying to figure out what time it is in England, because I might tell my parents to watch this. Is that a bad idea?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think based on the last 20 podcasts,
I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm gonna be less. Well, I don't know. What am I gonna do? I'm not gonna censor myself. I'm just gonna be more conscientious, because I have learned from sad experience that anything you say can and will be taken out of context to push other people's agendas. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 5 a.m. No one in England's gonna watch this.
Well, you never know.
We have a question. SH Performance has just asked, what inspired you to do a podcast? What mic are you using? What softwares? So I'll start. My mic, I bought this microphone on Amazon, and it's really bad. So now I'm just using my Apple MacBook Pro too expensive thing, inbuilt mic. Yeah, that's me.
Elizabeth is literally just using earbuds.
Yeah.
I am using an audio. Okay, this is like, look at me. But I'm using an Audio Technica AT 2020 USB edition with a blue pop filter, and I am using what is this called? A Logitech C920 webcam. I'm using OBS, which is Open Broadcaster Software, and that's how I am live streaming.
And I have the same webcam as you, right?
Yeah. But what inspired us to do a podcast? What was the point of all this anyway?
Well, basically, me and Brady, we were buddies in Micronesia. Long story. So we were both full-time missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we were both assigned to the same group of islands in third world Micronesia. We got along really, really, really quickly, and when we got home, we were like, hey, we should talk more, and we ended up having a bunch of fun conversations, and Brady was like, we should record this. And I was like, okay.
And then I tried to get you to buy a very specific microphone. You bought the wrong one, and then it sucked.
Yeah, it's true. I need to buy another one. So if anyone would like to be our sponsor, please let us know. We sell out for virtually nothing. I'm serious. You send me like a $5 Walmart voucher, I'll spend like a solid minute hyping up whatever it is you want me to hype up.
It's true. He'll do it.
I will do it.
And it's pretty entertaining.
I've done a lot more for a lot less.
Oh.
That's an office quote.
Are you sure it's just an office quote?
Well, it is a Creed quote from The Office.
Oh.
So it is, yeah.
Yeah, Creed is good.
Yeah.
So funny.
My favorite episode of The Office, 100%, and I mentioned this on the last episode of the podcast. Favorite episode is I think it's season 3, It's Gay Witch Hunt, where Oscar comes out as gay and Michael just like doesn't know how to talk to a gay person. He just loses his mind, and then they like kiss, and then he sues. And then the company like gives Oscar a huge payout and several months off just so he won't sue.
I think my favorite episode. I definitely like Dwight the best.
Yeah, all the pranks between Jim and Dwight.
Yeah. I'd have to say the emergency procedures episode where there's a fire and Stanley has a heart attack.
Oh yeah, where Dwight sets fire to everything.
They like throw the cat through the ceiling
And they push the copy machine outside.
Yeah. Oh, it gets me every time.
Okay, I actually really like the one where they've got the dummy. They're trying to learn first aid.
Oh, and he cuts the face down.
Yeah, he cuts the face off. He's like, yeah. And he like takes a knife or something. Doesn't he like stab open and like rip open the mannequin to try to? You lost him.
Yeah, and
staying alive.
Staying alive.
Yeah.
I got bitten by something on my leg. It really hurts. Sorry.
Is it a rattlesnake?
TMI. No, I'm not sure what it is. It just really, really hurts.
Okay.
So
there's this guy. Shout out. His name is Ryan Heavyhead. He does. He lives in Lethbridge here, where we're from, and he does like basically daily vlogs, but it's just him and rattlesnakes. He is assigned by the city here to go take care of rattlesnakes. So ones that are, just in people's yard, he relocates them. And he takes pictures of them, and it's really cool because he's just like not afraid of them. And he's super chill the whole time. He's like, yeah, we got a rattlesnake here. It looks to be a female. It's a pretty nice rattlesnake. Yeah. Look at this. And he's like, whoa, she seems pretty angry now. Yeah, she's a mighty one. And then he looks at the camera and he's like, they all are.
That's such a Lethbridge thing.
Also, shout out to Steve if Steve is watching.
Yeah, we all miss Steve. I mean, Henry can't watch because he's clearly not. I see him in the background.
SH Performance has said, what language did you speak on your mission? Me and Brady spoke Chukis. Should we have a little back and forth in Chukis?
I'll make fun of you.
Don't make me.
Okay.
Rananim.
Random goruk pui pui falsum.
Oh, fucking chicken. Falsum.
Apokun petsukun awate wate. Napseri. Neba napseri. Nang napseri.
Napseri Wooda.
Ira.
Yeah, we're not translating that, but yeah. SH Performances, if you would like to disclose your identity if one of us knows you, you don't have to. Or if there's any context as to how you found us, that would be great. Or any more questions. Yeah, so that's Chukis. Elizabeth, you seem like a well-educated, well-rounded person in general. Do you speak any other languages?
I took a semester of Spanish. And that was my first year, so I don't remember a lot of it. But
nice.
Yeah.
She also lived in Mexico.
I also lived in Mexico. When I was 2 and 4,
She was part of the drug gang.
I was the first toddler to ever be a part of the cartel.
They would shove drugs in her diaper and throw her across the border.
Cops dumping kids in the playground.
That's right.
Taking their
my dad was taking his master's program at a university there, so I spent about a year there, and I have a couple memories, and I used to be able to understand a little bit. Yeah.
We have 4 people watching now. So yeah, for the 4th person watching, feel free to put comments in the live chat. It's might be to the right of your screen on YouTube or wherever. We are taking questions, comments, queries, and concerns. So yeah, anyway, how's life? What are our subjects today?
Well, I kind of want to talk about holidays because I was looking at my calendar today at work and I noticed that there were just a ton of holidays on the calendar, and lots of them that aren't like nationally recognized or anything. But there's
I
just
kind of
lots of random holidays for stuff. So what's your favorite holiday and why?
I'm not trying to sound like a killjoy, but I don't like Christmas. I don't really like holidays. I just
It's like illegal.
I was told recently that that was a red flag as well about me. But yeah, I just don't like Christmas. It's like, what kitty so
Okay, this is what I imagine happening. So you and your wife have this argument about whether or not your kids should believe in Santa Claus and stuff. So to end the argument, you just dress up as Santa and like commit seppuku in front of them.
like plot my suicide on Christmas Eve. Just like have like a big box in the living room. They open it. I'm just hanging from the ceiling. All live streamed.
But you're in a Santa Claus suit. It's
Spitting on the
so
ceiling
the
fan.
next, but you're not actually dead. It's just so your wife takes them away.
Jeff Payne's watching.
You
Hey Jeff.
You got called beautiful, Elizabeth. How does it feel?
Oh, feels good, man. Now I'm blushing.
One of my favorite pastimes is actually to get Elizabeth to blush and then to call her out on it so it gets worse.
It just got worse.
Works every time.
The people that I work with make fun of me constantly for that as well.
Where do you work?
I work at an optometry office and a bridal shop. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, they are the same location, so you get glasses so you can see yourself in the gown.
2 for 1.
Seems right. Now that they're distinctly separate things. But anyway, so you don't like Christmas. You don't like
Yeah,
Christmas.
I'm not just saying that to be edgy. I'm just so indifferent to about it, and the fact that other people get too hyped just makes me annoyed. There's some people they just like Christmas too much, and then liking it too much just makes me annoyed. I'm such a humbug, but it's just like, what's the point? If you want to do something nice for someone, you don't have to wait for a specific day of the year that everyone says it's social acceptable day to get people stuff. It's like, that's stupid. Like, if you want to do something nice for someone or get someone, don't wait for society to give you a very specific time frame to do it. I like being with family on Christmas. I like that aspect. I like the aspect of, like thinking about Jesus and all of that stuff. But just the materialistic part, I just don't really get it. Like, why do we need a specific day of the year to say, kids get to be greedy and we're going to endorse it? And it's just, everyone takes time off work. A lot of Christmas activities are just greasy meals that no one actually likes, but they just sort of tolerate. And it's just like it's like everyone gets together and pretends to enjoy themselves and convinces themselves they're having a good time. And I'm just like,
I just like Christmas music, so
I don't like Christmas music.
And see,
It's
I'd
just,
probably
they play the
be
same
the one.
10 songs.
it's fine.
I'd probably be the one who annoys you, Joseph. I love Christmas.
If being Canadian wasn't a deal breaker, I think we've just found something that is.
Works every
It's all right.
time.
It's all right. It's fine. But yeah, but it's not. Well, here's the thing. I understand that a lot of people do like it, so I try not to be too salty about it. But I just think the entire system's stupid. I think the fundamental religious part of it, like Jesus wasn't even born on Christmas. But anyway,
He wasn't. Shocker.
it's like 10 things about Christmas. You won't believe what number 4 is. It's just a marketing excuse. It's like the only reason, like, it's just pushed by marketing. It's like, I feel like we're better than that as a species. If you want to spend time with your family, contrive a reason to spend time with your family. Like, say, hey, come over. We're going to eat way more than we want or need. And have, like, table talk for 6 hours. and then we're gonna all feel sick because we ate too much, and then we're gonna grumble in the drive home about what someone said and how we don't really want to talk to them again. And we'll just do it next year, guys. Just you've got to transcend above these like phony bubbles the world's trying to put you in. Christmas isn't really Christmas. It's just a word we assign to a specific day of the year.
I'd say, as a Canadian, we need Christmas.
We have nothing else. We
She's
need
using
that.
a big blood citation.
Because for the first couple months of winter, which is the majority of the weather up here, it kind of makes it magical. It's when you get into like January, February that it's really dreary. So
I have heard that in like northern countries they do have like there were celebrations historically to combat depression, so they just have these events to like hype people up. But we've got. Are you guys
It
reading the
works.
live chat comments as well?
Yeah, I am. So was there some sort of childhood traumatization that happened?
Like growing up, I always had lovely Christmases, and then when I was about 16 or 17, I was just like,
You didn't get the Xbox.
no, it wasn't that. Like I've never been materialistic. I was just like, what's all the hype? Like this isn't as good as ever. It's like the Emperor's New Clothes. Like they're great. This is great. This is great. This is great. And I'm just like, is it great? And then I went on my mission, and my first Christmas on mission, I was given fish, and I don't like fish, and like a handful of rice that was cold, and a single hot dog. Christmas dinner. Brady was there for that, and I was like, I didn't care. I realized I was like a lot of other missionaries were complaining, like, oh, I wish I was at home. If I was back in Pleasant Grove, my mama, she'd have her gravy and her stuffing and 6 turkeys, and I was just like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm just happy I don't have to go teaching today, which we were supposed to do, but I was like, no, I'm going to milk this. Anyway, I'm talking way too much. 4 people are watching. That means people aren't not watching. So the 2 people that are watching are still watching. Guys,
Yes.
send this, just like post this, say, hey guys, I'm watching this live stream. It's actually better than it sounds.
It's pretty bad, but it's so bad it's kind of good. Okay, let's talk about that. We may have mentioned this once before in the podcast, but people like watching train wrecks, okay? People like it when things are really, really bad or really, really good, but they don't like mediocre, i.e.
Yep.
America's Got Talent. Am I right? Nobody's ever just okay on America's Got Talent, right? You've either got somebody who's like slapping their belly as a talent, or you've got somebody who just like is mind-blowingly amazing at opera singing. There's no in between. Like last night some Italian dude was just amazing at singing. And then Elizabeth, you were there. Wasn't there just what was one of the terrible ones?
There's that one lady that was just dancing like horrendously in a leotard. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah, but we enjoy watching that. Why? Because we like to see people fail miserably or do really well. But we don't like to see somebody just be like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah, that's all right. Watch this man flip a pancake 3 times, but the 4th time he misses it.
See, I think it's just because it's not memorable, right? People remember stuff that's really, really good and really, really bad. But if somebody's just okay at singing, you're like, and then you just move on. Like, you completely forget about them. It has to do with memorability, I think. I don't know.
I'm looking at Elizabeth right now. Look at that smirk on her face.
Yeah, I get comments quite often that I don't stop smiling. So.
I get comments that I never smile.
You're perfect for each other. Oh wow.
Could you imagine, like, if this panned out? Like, I've known Elizabeth for what, like, less than an hour. Yeah, less
You
than.
also
But
live
like,
very far away from each other.
also very like theoretically, like, I don't know. There is a measurable probability that something could happen. Just purely based on the fact that we're both single, both same religion, both same age, both don't have any strong opposition to each other, and find each other's company entertaining. There's 5 reasons why theoretically it could pan out at some point. So what I'm saying is, if it does, like, prosperity will have access to our first interaction.
That's true.
Isn't that quite the gift? Talk about foresight.
I thought you already made an agreement that if you're both 25 and single, you'll just get hitched.
In Vegas. You have to include in Vegas.
We're going to do it when you're 25 or I'm 25.
He's like, sooner.
We got 3.5 years, baby. Let's just split the difference. Like when I'm 26 and you're however old will you be? I don't... This is bad.
Okay. So my favorite holiday is Remembrance Day. You know why?
I'll allow it because it's actually a good thing to remember.
It's my birthday on Remembrance Day, so I've always got the day off. Never had to go to school.
I like it because, like, I support veterans, and I think a lot of good people have sacrificed, and it's like one of the last, like, Western society as a whole is becoming so degenerate. It's one of the last few pieces of our culture that we cling to in any real way. And remembering the fallen of the people that actually died making our countries what they are. Like England, for example. Thousands of people have died trying to make England stay good, but now it's just kind of poo. Like, it's just not that good anymore. And Remembrance Day reminds us that things are worth fighting for. And people did, and they fought, and they died, and it's noble, and it reminds us of good stuff. Yeah. It's not necessarily a celebration, but I think it's like the least. I can't think of a more, like, that's what holidays should be about. Like, that's an actual thing that should be worth remembering. I guess here it's nearly 4th of July in the States. I understand that. A lot of people keep asking me if I'm going to be like super like triggered on the 4th of July, but I'm just like, nah, I like fireworks and guns. Like, it's going to be fun. Like,
yeah, I mean, we used to always go to the States for the 4th of July because of the fireworks, right? We used to, because they're so good, right? But we haven't gone in a long time. I probably won't go this year either. I haven't been in the States in forever. I was so busy I could never get to travel anymore.
Yes, we have.
Oh, well, does that really count? I went to go pick up my fiance. I bought her from Russia, and she took a train.
Would you like to be on the Fletch? Come on the live stream podcast.
Oh,
Fletch.
Yeah, he didn't.
Are you kidding me, Joe? Are you kidding me?
Uh-oh.
I just got given Olive Garden breadsticks by Fletch. Fletch, do you want to get in frame? That's the frame.
Sign of a fruit.
What's up, guys? Can you believe him? He just threw my breadsticks that I gave to him.
I've never had Olive Garden breadsticks before.
They're usually better when they're fresh.
But I've heard that they
5 hours ago.
Thank you. I'm gonna put these in the microwave later. Thank you, Fletch. You're a gentleman and a scholar.
It's a good story.
What's a good story?
What's up, guys?
Oh,
you should ask him
No.
about how his last date went.
No. What?
Trust me, I already know.
And how his girlfriend's doing.
No. Why?
And...
Go away. Go away. Mute this.
And...
No, la, 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 la.
Joe, just one more. Just one more.
No.
I just played an ad.
The last time you made...
Last time I made cookies? Okay. All right. That's...
Or cookie, singular.
Okay. So a bunch of people were conspiring. Yeah. A bunch of people were conspiring against me, trying to get me deported, fired, excommunicated, and kicked out of school all at the same time, for just basically no reason. Anyway, so I was mad, and I was like, you know what? So I saw this thing online. It said $4 for any size ice cream with the ice cream place down the road. So I went down the road, and they're like, that's on Thursday, and I was like, So I came home and there was some cookie dough in the freezer. It's been in the freezer since January, since before I got to school. And so what I did is I just got all the cookie dough and I just put it on a tray and just shoved it in the oven and just made like a big fat cookie. I was like, I'm going to eat that and I'm going to enjoy it because my life can't get any worse right now. And I don't need to think about the calories. You know, being stressed, I've actually lost, like, I didn't tell you this, like 4 or 5 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, and the only thing I can attribute it to is stress.
Wow.
Yeah. I should piss people off more often. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, whatever works, I guess.
Yeah. 3 people are watching. Oh, come on. Jeff stopped watching. Wait, someone stopped watching. Okay, SH Performance said, how did my last date go? I've not been on a date in a while. And anyway, I'm not going to talk about it. Fletch deliberately brought that up because it's not a fun subject. Anyway, politically charged. But
All right. Elizabeth, tell me about the worst mistake you've ever made in your entire life.
Well, 4 people
I
are
would
watching.
say we're gonna get personal here. But dating someone when I did not have feelings for them, and for a long time, I'd say a couple months.
Rip Jace. Oh, man.
Didn't do that.
No, it's not. It's not Jace. It's just funny because if Jace ever watches this, then he'll be trolled. Okay, so did the arm
basically context. He would. I had not dated before. I was kind of a late bloomer in that kind of stuff. I went on my first one-on-one date when I was 17 and moved away from home, and that happened to be the person I ended up dating for quite a few months. So, yeah, it was more of a mistake of not really knowing how to end it, and it just made things really painful in the end. But yeah.
I have a question because I remember you being in that relationship, and the thing was, like, I obviously didn't know how you feel, but I always saw you together, right? You were always together, and so as a result, like, I kind of stopped talking to you as much, and I think didn't a lot of people do that?
Yep. Once we broke up, I felt very lonely for a couple months because I had very little social life outside of that boyfriend. So, yeah, it was a rough year, but
that's so interesting to me that kind of stuff happens, right? It's like social dynamics, right? As soon as you start dating somebody, you either ostracize yourself or people begin to just fade away from you because I think they subconsciously know that they'll never be as important as that person, and people naturally want to feel important and desired and wanted, and so they go to people that make them feel more important than you can make them feel. If that makes sense. It's just a theory. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's one of the reasons why it's scary to break up, because you kind of know that that person can kind of become your whole life, and then you have to kind of put yourself out there all the time.
Just do my strategy. Just be lonely and resentful towards life in general.
There you go. I'll try it out next time.
Are you seeing anyone at the moment? Asking for a friend?
Not currently, no.
Okay, because you said you'll try that out next time, so I was just curious.
But suddenly she's going on a mission.
Yeah. Woo.
Are you doing your papers, or are you just like telling people you're going on a mission? So if they ask about your life plans, you just get a free pass.
It started as that, but then the lie got so deep that she had to go.
It's true.
Pretty much.
There's no escape now. Yeah, they should be done by August. So.
Okay, we got some time. You got some. Where do you want to go? I'm joking, guys. I have to start doing that now. I'm going to have to clarify after every single joke.
He has British humor. Okay. Right. Everyone calm the F down.
if I could go anywhere, I would go Spanish speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
Señorita. Taco quesadilla.
Imagine if you
Hola.
got called to the Micronesia Guam mission.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. I would low.
That would be
love-
terrifying.
I
Get
would
sent
feel
to
so-
Pata.
I'd just say, yeah, like, go home. It's not worth it. Not Pata.
Pata's
Oh, no.
rough.
No.
Anyway. Okay, well, in reality, if you actually went to Guam, you'd get to go somewhere like Saipan or Guam, where
Oh,
things
that's true.
are pretty tame, and
You
it's
get
like
made a training leader in 2 weeks and get a car and just breathe down elders' necks all the time. It'd be cushy.
yeah,
So,
and people would like you because you're a sister. They'd just be like, "Oh, look at them! They need more food." However, you would gain a significant amount of weight.
It's bad. It's so bad. It's like
It's no
elders,
knock
just so
on
you
the
know-
sisters, but it
just so
just
you know-
happens.
Just know, elders in your mission, they're going to rate you as you come into the mission field, and they're going to compare that to as you're moving.
He's joking. He's joking, people. It's a British humor
I'm
thing.
joking, guys.
joking.
Why would the missionaries ever do that? They're just way too busy to objectify their colleagues like that.
Yeah, this is how they read books.
1984.
Can you tell? It's upside down. Anyway.
But that book specifically is a very relevant thing. Anyway, I'm not grinding an axe. I'm
Yeah,
not
so
grinding an axe.
Do you just
Trademark.
want to go Spanish speaking because you've been to Mexico and been around Mexican people, or do you just want it because of that sweet, sweet opportunity of actually learning a useful language that we both really are jealous of?
Who missed the boat on?
both. When I went on a family vacation to Mexico over spring break, and I kind of found that I was like in love with the language. I was excited over everything being in Spanish. Like there was a traffic sign, I was like, it's in Spanish, and everyone's talking Spanish. So yeah, I think I just really have a love for the language, and the people and food are incredible. So it'd be sweet.
Do you ever go to the French part of Canada?
I have not. No.
Maybe that would be cool. All right,
That
let's
would be
make predictions right now. Right now.
Okay, based on what I know about you, like you're nice. I'd say you're just happy. I'd say first world probably. I could see Europe.
That'd be sweet.
You're just a nice Canadian girl, unoffensive. People will let you into their house. Yeah, Europe.
Nice. Thank you.
You'll have a companion who you have to drag around everywhere because they are offensive and they're not Canadian, and people don't want to let them in their house.
Yeah.
So they use you. You just kind of stand in front and they're behind you.
Your mission's going to consist of people hearing your accent and saying, "What part of America are you from?"
And then you'll go, "I'm not."
I should
Actually-
just get like a Canadian flag scarf or something and just wear it constantly, just as a subtle hint.
I would just tattoo a maple leaf on my face.
Just right on my forehead.
Just have like a moose, a Mountie riding a moose drinking maple syrup, like tattoo,
Gotta get the beaver in there somewhere.
with a hockey stick.
Sounds good. I'll go contact my favorite tattoo artist.
Your favorite one.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Good, I'm proud of you for having a favorite tattoo artist.
Yeah, my go-to.
So edgy.
No, right?
Really, she's too edgy.
How do I get...
I met my match. I'm joking.
It's so depressing. Okay, what was I gonna say? Okay, so your horrible mistake was going on a date with somebody and not really having...
Dating.
Oh yeah,
Dating.
dating. It was...
It was
How
different.
long was it?
Going on
It
8
felt
dates
like
now, but
6 months.
It was officially 4 months.
Okay, so that in Mormon world becomes somewhat serious, right? So
That means like engagement territory.
Yes, it was.
Easy.
Yeah.
Swiftly moving on. Brady.
Okay, no, but okay. If this gets too personal, you can tell me to shut up. That's totally fine.
Okay.
But I'm interested because if you don't have any feelings for them, did you ever kiss? Like, and were you just, and when you kiss, were you just like, I have no feelings for you, but I'm doing this because I feel that I'm in some kind of social contract?
So I did like him, but I feel like it was more erring on the side of friendship, especially when he started bringing up marriage. That freaked me out. And I realized that I didn't like him as much as I should in like the boyfriend-girlfriend way. So we got along really well. Our personalities really meshed, but I didn't like him as much as he liked me. And I met his family very early on, and I fell in love with his family. They were like my Lethbridge family. So yeah, but yeah, I'm trying to, what was the question again?
The question was, so if the question was like, did you kiss and stuff?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
but did you just feel nothing? Like that's how you knew, or
Yeah. Like I felt pressured to do that because we were dating, right? And I was usually uncomfortable. But
oh, that's interesting that kind of stuff happens.
Press F to pay respects.
Yeah, F. Everybody in the chat just pushes F.
I did.
I'm doing it too. F.
Yeah. Elizabeth, you gotta press F to pay respects.
Oh, okay. I'll get my phone.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's how we know who's listening. Everyone put F to pay respects. 4 people watching now.
The biggest mistake that I've ever made.
Jeff.
Jeff. There you go.
Yes, Jeff.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
So,
Yeah.
biggest mistake I've ever made. I've made a lot of mistakes.
Haven't we all?
Dating wise, I mean, I mentioned on the last podcast, so I won't talk about it again. But I think it was just a life mistake. We'll get all philosophical here. For a long time, I always felt like I had to censor myself, or that I had to try to be somebody that I wasn't, just to try to make other people happy, just to appease people. And I was really, really unhappy for a long time because I was just being somebody that I wasn't. I was just kind of putting on a show to try to make friends instead of really saying my opinions. And I just kind of always stuck to the back of a group as opposed to actually getting out there and having a personality. And I think that really stunted my growth as a person, if that makes sense. So in the last year or so, I've really changed how I go about making friends, who I hang out with, the extracurricular activities I do. I've just put myself out there more, and I've become so much happier. It's very simple, but it's quite incredible what's resulted from that change of, it's mostly a change of mind, a change of, I suppose, perception of self as well. But like I met my now fiance in that time, and I could have just tried to become, and this was a mistake I made in dating a lot. I would always try to become what they wanted instead of being what I wanted, if that makes sense. So
Does make sense.
yeah,
So advice time.
yeah, so my advice to anybody out there who is maybe struggling emotionally, or who is struggling with relationships or anything like that, is you just have to be, I mean, this sounds really cliche, but I promise that there's more depth to it than you'd think. Is just be yourself, right? You need to spend time discovering who you are, and not being afraid of having a different opinion or just being different than other people. If you're surrounded by people that just don't agree with you all the time, and that it's okay not to agree with people all the time, but if you're surrounded by people that are nothing like you, that you have nothing in common with, then something's wrong. Yeah. So that's my advice.
And I would say, because I knew you when you were kind of a little more reserved as opposed to now, you are able to attract people to wanting to get to know you now because you are super comfortable with yourself. And I feel like people like what you say. They like your opinions. Whereas before you just were really reserved. And so it was harder to feel comfortable approaching you. So it's been a good change for you.
Yeah, and the other thing is people would always comment on that. But in my head, I would think I'm not reserved. Like because in my head, I'm saying exactly what I think all the time. So in my head, I'm not really reserved. But to other people, their perception of me was that I was reserved, that I was afraid of opening up. And once I realized that, I started to change that, and it made all the difference. And so, yeah, I suppose people would think I'm a little too blunt now. But for example, like if somebody...
I wonder what that's like.
Yeah. Yeah. If people come up to me, and I will openly tell them exactly what I think about something. And if they don't like it, I mean, to an extent, right? Like I'm not going to purposefully offend somebody, right? You need to be you need to have some tact when you're doing things like this. But if somebody asks me my opinion about a social issue or my opinion on politics or anything, I'll just tell you. I don't care if you agree or disagree. I'm just going to tell you what I think.
I like it. Elizabeth, what do you think? I mean, we've got a kind of age spread between us.
True.
So have you kind of transcended it in any real way that you've noticed?
Within myself?
Yeah.
Okay, background. I find that I'm a lot more... so you know the 18-year-olds Brady bashes all the time? I would say in high school I was very much one of those people. Like, maybe not quite to the extreme, but I would say I focused a lot on culture, and was a little judgmental and just had like very narrow-minded views of a lot of things. But since moving away from home, I've kind of come into myself, and I find I'm a lot more liberal thinker now, which has been good, I think.
Yeah, I'd say similar situation to you. Like, I was very closed-minded. Then I got on my mission, realized that life was meaningless, and sort of, like, honestly, like, I hit rock bottom and stayed there for a really long time. And like, because in my mind I was convinced that nothing mattered, I could finally look at things objectively. And like I'm a lot more liberal, a lot more kind of open to different ideas. You know, I won't rule out any specific opinion. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm genuinely very open to ideas, and I like to think about lots of things and weigh up different opinions. And I do feel like I'm a better person because of it. And I just feel like a lot of the world's really closed-minded. Not that my environment could have anything to do with people that are like that. But
He's joking. He's joking.
I'm joking, guys. Sheesh. I mean, what type of people do you think I deal with? Those that try and get you deported, fired, and
He's joking. He's British.
Yeah, I'm British. We just joke about getting people deported, getting them fired, getting them expelled, and getting them excommunicated. You know, that's just jokes, guys. I'm joking.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm not salty.
So, biggest mistake you've ever made?
Biggest mistake I ever made. I did something stupid recently that had a lot of backlash, so I'm leaning towards saying that. But I've probably made bigger mistakes in my life.
Yeah, I guess the freshest one is the one that recently happened.
Yeah, it's still kind of fresh. But basically, okay, the fresh one, I said some stupid things, and a lot of people got salty and started to come after me. And it's just, I've apologized. I've tried apologizing, done anything I could reasonably do to make it right. And there's still a lot of salt. And anyway, but over my lifetime, the worst thing I've probably done, my biggest regret, not taking care of myself long term. It's the accumulation of little things. It's the accumulations of I'll go to the gym tomorrow, and I'll just have that slice of pizza today, and I'll just read that book tomorrow, and I'll just finish browsing this 4chan thread instead of doing something useful. I feel like I'm not anywhere near my potential. I'm constantly beating myself up because I could be so much better than I am. I've got a lot of drive and ambition, but it's not enough. I'm not competitive enough. And Elizabeth, your camera went off. Anyway,
It's back. It's back. Don't do anything.
I've got. I don't know. Like I want to be better. Like again, like on my mission, I changed so much. Like now, I want to be a better person. Like I want to be more. I want to be more successful. Does that make sense? I want to be a lot more successful than I am. I want to like, like I'm really ambitious. Like I've written a screenplay, and I want to make it into a movie. And I believe that in the next few years, I could literally be a millionaire because I'm going to work on it. I do tons, every single day I do stuff with cameras because that's what I want to do. I learn, I teach myself. I go to anyone and everyone I can ask questions about. I went into a teacher's office the other day for 2 hours and we just talked about cameras and stuff and just hung out because he was teaching me and it was a good learning experience. Anytime I can make myself better, more educated, more well-rounded, more intellectual, I jump on it. I really do. But I'm not good enough. I need to be better at it. I need to be, do you know what I mean? Like there's lots of people that are pretty good at trying, but you need to step up your game. And I need to do that. And my biggest regret is that I haven't started sooner. Like if I started exercising every day when I was 14, I'd be in impeccable shape by now. But I'm not. I'm just in astounding shape, as I'm sure you will just. I'm joking, guys. Wow.
He's joking. He's British.
Joking. Everything is for satire. Please don't take anything out of context.
Takes that out of context. This guy says he has an astounding body. He doesn't. He's a liar.
It's going to be very good. Someone said marijuana laws ? I'm a libertarian. I think people can do what they want and learn from the consequences. And if someone decides they want to use marijuana, in my ideal society, anyone would be free to do anything up to the point of stopping people from infringing on their freedoms. For example, if you want to shoot up heroin, that's great. But as soon as you start attacking my house in this perfect society, I'll be able to mow you down with my belt-fed machine gun that I can because that's violating the non-aggression policy. If they violate the NAP, like, you gotta react.
Is everyone a Nazi in your fascist society?
No, it's not. Technically, it's ANCAP. But anyway. So think about, like, if everything was legal until you infringe on another person, you're like, within consenting adults, like, why not? Someone wants to try meth, great, but as soon as you start stealing someone's car, you're prepared to get shot for stealing their car. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, that's kind of like how ancient Rome was in its heyday, and it was successful for hundreds of years. But I'm not going to get political. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. I'm just a moderate that has generic opinions you can find on any generic news network that's playing right now.
Okay,
Gosh, seriously. I'm joking.
My personal opinion on marijuana laws is why in the world would you not make it legal? Because, look, in economics, you talk about how there's so much GDP. The GDP is almost incalculable. You can't get a real definitive GDP because they don't take into things like the black market. because you don't account for the black market, there's a huge trading of money that goes on that is not taxable, that's not being accounted for. So if we tax marijuana, you're going to make society a better place. Make it legal. The people that
want to use it
are going to use it, and then suddenly they have to do it legally. They have to pay taxes on it, etc., etc. You're going to create businesses that are legal, that have to pay taxes, that employ people that have to pay taxes, and then you're just going to have a system where you can control it, because right now you can't control it at all. People are going to find a way to do it no matter what you do. You might as well make it legal.
Have gang culture? Because of the prohibition. If it wasn't for the prohibition, there would not be nearly as much gang crime or crime in general in America. You can trace it directly back to the prohibition. Soon as they banned alcohol, they just created a business, and criminals just had stuff to do. And then when they made alcohol legal again, the criminals were twiddling their thumbs thinking, what else can we do? And ever since then, we're reaping those rewards.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see a problem. And honestly, marijuana is tame. If alcohol is legal, then why can't marijuana be legal?
Yeah, like, I don't know. Okay, we have SH Performance has asked a few questions. Can you disclose your identity? I feel like you probably know one of us. If you don't, that's fine. I'm just curious to who you are. But it sounds approving of my libertarianism. I don't know, Elizabeth. How do you feel politically? Oh wait, before you answer, do you know my favorite Justin Trudeau? What's his name? Your Prime Minister?
Trudeau.
Yeah. Do you know what my favorite quote of his is?
What?
If you kill your enemies, they win. No offense, guys, but you elected like a high school substitute drama teacher as your Prime Minister,
and he does a really good job.
Does he do a good job?
I think so.
Which party is he for? I've only heard bad things.
He's for the Liberal Party, which ironically is slightly more socialist. But I like Justin Trudeau. I think he's a good leader. He might not have a degree in economics, but he is a good leader. I don't agree with many of his economic policies. Like I think there's a few things he's done where I'm like, maybe not. But I mean, how are you gonna get much better? You can't agree with everything that somebody stands for.
Yeah, you can. Should I get my relevant item of apparel?
Oh no. You really agree with everything that man stands for? Did you know that there's a subreddit called Trump? It's like Trump fights Trump, and it's just people take Trump's tweets and that just totally go against everything he believes. So they just like, there's a tweet of him in like 2014 where he's bashing Obama for like doing too many direct orders. Lol. Does most direct orders in first 6 months of presidency ever. Like, oh, and then there's another tweet where he's like, I wish our president wouldn't take so much time off. The White House is corrupt, yada, yada, yada. Goes golfing the most of any president ever. Takes most time off in first 6 months of any president ever. Really?
That's funny.
Really though?
Today at work, we were talking about Trump and how like we like someone to like, if Trump was the prophet, we're gonna build a temple and the Catholics are gonna pay for it. Can you imagine? That is funny.
Okay, you want to know a weird thing that my fiance and I do? Well, like Elizabeth's like, which one?
Yeah, there's so many.
A weird thing that we do
This is PG.
It's PG. Don't worry. So have you seen Elf, the Christmas movie? I mean, you probably haven't. You hate Christmas and everything it stands for.
I actually like.
You like Elf though for the comedic value, right?
I'm not against the stories. I just think that it's stupid. Anyway, we're not. Yeah.
I'm not against the stories. I just think they all suck.
I'm joking.
He's joking. He's British.
Guys, come on! Stop plotting against me.
Okay.
Someone's watching this with a notepad. I don't find this funny, but I'm finding it funny.
I don't find this funny at all. I'm offended and triggered. Okay. So, Elf. There's a quote in Elf where I think Buddy the elf is talking to his dad, and he's like, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and then and then he's like, "Get out," or like something like that. Well, my fiance and I, we carpool to work every day, and so right before she gets out of the right before she gets, I make her drive. Right before she gets out of the car, right before I get out of the car.
Seventh wave feminism.
Yes, second wave feminism. Right before I get out of the car,
Seven.
I always look at her, I give her a kiss, and say, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and then I just like run away.
I didn't know about that one. That's pretty cute.
Yeah.
It's adorable. We'll have to think of some adorable things to do in our own respective relationships in the future with other people. I'm joking!
He's joking, he's British.
Oh, that's our catchphrase now.
Well, if we don't say that, then we could get sued or perhaps deported or
Or fired, or expelled, or excommunicated.
or maybe all of them at the same time. Never know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the full shebang.
Yeah. So, we're gonna one more topic to wrap up the podcast here. We've talked a lot about mistakes. How can you possibly fix a mistake, or what do you actually? Let's spin the question a little bit different. If somebody's ever wronged you, how do you forgive them?
Do you want the technical answer for image restoration? Because that's what we were learning about in class today. I can read off bullet points from a professional that emailed them to me.
I don't really know how that's relevant, but
No, you were talking about like forgiving someone. Never mind.
yeah, forgiving somebody. How do you, if somebody's ever really wronged you, or at least from your perspective they've wronged you, how do you forgive somebody, or what is forgiveness? I guess is what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Because there have been times when I've really, really wronged somebody, and it's maybe this is a gendered issue, but I find, and Elizabeth can hop in on this and become a feminist if I say anything that's remotely discriminatory, but I feel like men in general have an easier time just getting over something than women do. I don't know why that is, but it seems to be women hold on to something and they just, they
I
fight
think
for
it's
it.
because it's an evolutionary trait, like in combat. Like if you're fighting another tribe and someone gets down, you can't hold a grudge for that guy, because if you do, someone else is going to come and attack you. So you have to be able to move on quickly within combat. Do you know? Like, think about it. That makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Whereas women, traditionally, for the past several hundreds of thousands of years, or thousands of years, have just sort of been very domestic, very sociable. And when they're like, you socialize with people, it's easy to stay salty if you're just kind of stuck with people that have wronged you. Whereas men, they've always been like, had to problem solve and make decisions and provide. And so being salty has been inefficient, so it's been bred out of them, basically.
I would also argue that women tend to be more emotional, and usually when forgiveness is needed, it's when trust has been broken, or it's usually very emotionally driven, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you find that I don't know, in your circles, Elizabeth, that people tend to get, I don't know, a little, if somebody's really wronged them, that they go after somebody or they hold a grudge for a long time?
Definitely thinking about middle school and high school experiences, that's 100% true. There's definitely kind of a group mentality of they find something to go after, and everyone gets really worked up and remember it for a long time. For myself, I find that had the comment that I have been pretty quick to forgive. But I'm still trying to define what forgiveness is. Like, going back to your first question, like, I feel like it's when you're able to interact with that person without having like seething rage. Yeah, just like being able to have a civil or normal interaction with them. That's genuine.
Is there anything that somebody does that you can't forgive them for? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think me or her.
Both. Let's hear it.
Like, unforgivable things. I would say if someone deliberately and maliciously tried to like significantly infringe me out of spite. Like, if someone just decided that they knew that like it wasn't like, for whatever reason, they were out to get me, and they would deliberately, like, I don't know, like if someone decided to throw like acid in my kids' faces because I'd wronged them or something. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not much coming back from that.
Yeah, I agree. There's one guy from my mission. There's one.
I know.
And you probably know who this is, but there's one.
I know exactly who
There's
it is.
one guy where every time I think of his name, I get like physically mad. Like I actually have like a physical response to like thinking about it, just because I have such a hard time forgiving, because I forgave so many times and then it just never changed, right? I feel like I was kind of picked on by this guy. Now, maybe he doesn't think that, but I also think he has multiple personality disorder, so I don't know if that has anything to do with him not being able to recognize what he's doing, but he's just bad to me. He's just really bad to me. So I have a hard time forgiving that. And it's something that I've kind of struggled with, because I want to be able to let go of that. But for some reason, I just like can't. Like, I don't know. I wish it was easier to forgive some things, is what I think it's possible that, because I mean at this point, like, it's been so long that does it really matter anymore? Not really. And do I ever see him? No, but it still kind of bothers me. So I don't know that I've fully forgiven him. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on the severity and the motive of what they did. Like, I'd say if someone does something over an extended period of time, knowing that they shouldn't, that changes it, as opposed to like an isolated event that wasn't necessarily premeditated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've definitely heard stories of people who forgive pretty much, in my mind, unforgivable things. Like, I don't know if you guys heard the story of the man who forgave the teenage drunk driver who killed half of his family.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so like things like that where they totally do forgive, but I think you need kind of like extra help. I don't think in the place where I'm at in my life, I don't know if I could be that strong, you know?
Yeah.
Huh.
The point of all of this is, I don't think seeking vengeance and trying to tear somebody else down is the right way to go about making yourself feel better. And I think that oftentimes that's what people resort to, because they think that if I eliminate this person, if I kick them out of the group, if I do this or that, then I win. But that's not really winning.
If you kill their enemies, they win.
Yeah, there you go. If you kill your enemies, they win.
Jeff Payne made a comment, I think, directed to you. Shout out to Jeff, one of my favorite people from the Micronesia Guam mission.
Yeah.
He's definitely one of the top few. 100%. Oh, like
Top
yeah.
10%.
Oh, easy.
I have so many good stories.
Easy.
I always tell good
yeah.
stories about Jeff.
Chef Bain, he's a good lad. I like him. And you also go on the podcast sometime. Legitimately, he was one of the few people that I didn't like resent. Anyway.
Yeah, he's right though. Jeff commented that at the same time it was so long ago, but that time in your life was so important to you. And I think maybe not that specific moment in time was like so important, but just that I was very vulnerable in that time, and that was a very critical time in my life. So I guess in a sense it was important in that regard. I was vulnerable. I was in a state of helplessness. I needed somebody to support me, and the only person there that was supposed to support me didn't, right? And that's, to me, very hard to forgive. And then to boot, like, it goes on, and he not only did he make my life suck for several months, but then afterward he told everybody else that I sucked, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna make them believe that you suck worse. But
I remember my first impression of this person.
What was it? Let's hear
it. They were trying really, really hard to impress all the new guys. They just dumped a bunch of cheeseburgers on the floor, and they were like, just take them. And he was trying like to be overly passive about it. Just like, yeah, like no big deal. Remember, this is like, we're in a country where there's no McDonald's. So he's brought these things 600 miles in his hand luggage. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. It's chill.
Yeah,
it's
why?
Chill. I'm a cool guy.
Yeah, and he's just like, yeah, it's whatever, man. But why would you do that? There's only one reason you do something like that.
Crippling approval issues?
Yeah, right? It's interesting. Anyway, I digress. That was like, I have journal entries of me just very upset about stuff that happened. I vividly remember, this is a really personal story. I don't think I've ever told you this, Joseph. But This isn't
a podcast.
What?
This is a podcast.
Yeah.
Admittedly, no one's going to watch it.
No, I don't really care if people know it. Because, I mean,
obviously...
We're joking. Yeah, like...
We're joking. Gosh, of course people will watch it if we're just perfectly nice about everyone.
Yeah, I mean, here's what happened. There was this woman in our area, and I didn't know Chukis very well. I didn't know the language, and so I had a hard time communicating with the local people, but we were assigned to help them, right? That's the purpose of being a missionary in a foreign country like that. We were assigned to help them. And when my partner at the time, he got transferred out of the area and I got a new one, before he left, we went to this woman and she made us promise that we would still help her and visit her and things. And so she wasn't ever gonna join the church or whatever. Like, we knew that, but we really, really respected this older woman. And so, and she was really nice to me. Every time I went up there, she'd make me lemonade and she was just...
Chuk?
I don't know if it was lemonade or maybe she just got me cold water, but she got...
Was this in Guam or Chuk?
This was in Chuk.
Which island?
She might have got me Kool-Aid. It was on Wooda. It was in Naewa.
Okay.
So she was always very nice to me, and she's like, please always come back. Like, don't forget about me. She made me promise not to forget about her. So now remember, I had very little pull because I didn't know the language very well. But I remember I had been battling my companion at the time, and I said, look, can we please go visit this woman? And he said, what's the point? She doesn't care, and just like went on about how, well, there's no point. She's never going to get baptized. And I was like, but that's not the point of me being here. That comment in itself really triggered me, I suppose. Like, I'm pretty upset about that because that's not why I was there. I wasn't there to go and baptize people. I was there to help people, and it bothered me when people had a different attitude towards that. And so he just basically told me it was a waste of time. And I argued with him, and he just made fun of me and was just insensitive about it and pretty stupid. So I just left. I just like grabbed the keys to the car and I went and I locked myself in it, and I called I called my old companion. He walked and came and defused.
Who's your old
the situation.
companion?
It was Peck, man. Peck's the man.
Peck. I've heard good things. Who was this woman?
Honestly, I don't even remember her name because it was so long ago.
Did she live on the mountain?
She did live on. Well, not the mountain. She was closer to the chapel.
The old chapel?
When you were there, she had left. She went to America, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I remember her daughter's name. I think it was her daughter's name. Daughter's name was Melody, but...
Chook, it's just so... I don't know. Whenever I think about Chook, I always get weird. Anyway, let's end the podcast on a lighter note.
Yeah. Some final words, because it is getting late for us here.
Elizabeth, do you want to wrap us up?
I guess one thought I had as we were talking about forgiveness, the best revenge is to be happy and make your life as good as possible because people hate seeing that. So, yeah, that's my advice.
Yeah.
Well, that has been Uncredible Podcast, Season 2, Episode 1, featuring Elizabeth.
Yay, Elizabeth. You'll have to come on more often. All right, thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. This will be posted. I think this gets posted on the channel immediately after, but I'll probably remove this and post a better quality version on Friday. So thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you later.